Hey folks, imagine this. You're digging through your pocket change, looking for a quarter to feed a parking meter, and boom, you spot a plain old 1965 Lincoln penny. You're about to toss it into the cup holder when you remember hearing about some rare pennies being worth a fortune. You take a closer look, and suddenly, your heart skips a beat. Could this be the one? Could this tiny, copper-colored disc be worth a jaw-dropping $1.80 million? Today, we're diving into the 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, the mysterious coin that's got collectors and treasure hunters going nuts. Why is it so valuable? How can you tell if you have one? And most importantly, where should you check before you accidentally spend a fortune on a pack of gum? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just be rich and not even know it. Alright, let's take a little trip back to 1965. The Beatles were taking over the world. Gas was 31 cents a gallon, and the US Mint was in a bit of a pickle. See, back then, people were hoarding silver coins like they were doomsday prepping, and the government was scrambling to fix a coin shortage. To make things easier, they stopped putting mint marks on coins from 1965 to 1967. Now, most of these pennies were just regular 1-cent pieces made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. But then, something weird happened. A tiny batch of these pennies turned out to be special, very special. This particular 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny wasn't just an ordinary penny. It was mistakenly struck on a silver planchet. Simple, it's the blank metal disc that gets stamped to become a coin. Usually, pennies are made of copper, but a few lucky 1965 pennies got struck on leftover silver dime planchets from previous years. That little mistake? It turned a worthless penny into a millionaire's dream. Now, before you start dumping your piggy bank on the floor, let's talk about how to spot one of these rare beauties. So, how do you know if you've hit the jackpot? Well, first things first, grab a magnet. If your 1965 penny sticks to a magnet, sorry, no $1,000,000 for you. But if it doesn't stick, you might be onto something. The weight test. A regular 1965 penny weighs 3.11 grams, while a silver planchet penny will weigh about 2.5 grams, just like a silver dime. A simple digital scale can help you with this. They have a silvery, almost whitish tint instead of the usual reddish-brown copper look. If yours looks like it could pass as a dime in disguise, that's a good sign. If your penny checks all these boxes, get it authenticated ASAP. A professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can confirm if you've got a real deal or just an ordinary penny that's been through the washing machine too many times. Now, let's talk about the money. Why is this penny selling for $1.80 million? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. There are only a handful of these silver-struck 1965 pennies known to exist, and collectors love rare mistakes. The rarer the coin, the bigger the price tag. A perfect, uncirculated one can command life-changing amounts at auction. If you had one of these, you wouldn't just toss it in a tip jar, would you? My personal close call with a valuable coin. I'll never forget the time I almost spent a rare coin without knowing it. A few years back, I was cleaning out an old desk drawer and found a 1943 steel penny. I figured, hey, a penny's a penny, right? Almost gave it to the cashier at a gas station. Then something in my brain said, wait a minute. I looked it up, and turns out, some of those 1943 pennies are worth six figures if they were mistakenly made in copper. Mine? Sadly, just the regular steel one worth a few cents. But that moment stuck with me. I almost gave away something rare without realizing it. And that's why you always gotta check. Grab a magnet, a scale, and your old coin jar. Check those 1965 pennies, because if you find the right one, you could be sitting on a fortune. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth money and collecting strategies, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You never know, your next coin find could be a life changer. Now go check those pennies. And if you find one worth $1,000,000, just remember who told you about it first. Alright, folks, let me ask you something. What if I told you that a simple penny, yes, one you probably walked past in a parking lot or found under your couch, could be worth nearly $2 million? That's right. Today we're talking about a 1996 Lincoln penny that sold for a jaw-dropping $1.90 million. Now, before you run to your piggy bank or start shaking out your car mats, let me tell you how I almost missed out on a valuable penny myself. True story. A few years back, I was at a diner, about to pay for my coffee, when I noticed an old penny in my change. Looked a little different, kinda shiny, but worn. I thought, it's just a penny, and tossed it in the tip jar. Later that night, I got curious and looked up rare pennies from that year. Turns out, I had given away a coin worth over $500. Folks, I practically tipped my waitress a steak dinner and a weekend getaway. So, don't make my mistake. Stick around, and I'll tell you exactly what makes the 1996 D penny so rare, how to identify it, and why it's commanding such an insane price in today's market. You might be wondering, what's so special about this penny? Was it minted on Mars? Does it have a hidden treasure map engraved on it? Not quite, but close. The reason this penny is so valuable comes down to a rare minting error and a one-of-a-kind discovery. First, the 1996 D Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, as indicated by the little d mark under the year. Normally, these coins aren't rare. Denver pumped out 6.6 billion pennies that year. But within that massive batch, a tiny handful had a crazy minting mistake. This particular penny was struck on the wrong planchet, meaning instead of being made of regular copper-plated zinc, it was struck on a planchet meant for a dime. This makes it thinner, shinier, and slightly lighter than a normal penny. The error wasn't noticed at the time, and only a few examples have ever surfaced, making them incredibly rare. So, let's say you're digging through your spare change, and you think you might have one of these hidden gems. It must have a D under the date, meaning it was minted in Denver. A regular penny weighs 2.5 grams, but this error coin weighs around 2.3 grams because it was struck on a dime planchet. Unlike normal pennies, which have a smooth edge, this one might have a slightly raised or incomplete edge due to the incorrect planchet. It may look a bit different in color, slightly shinier or silverish rather than the usual copper tone. If you have a coin that matches these descriptions, do not spend it on a vending machine snack. You could be sitting on a small fortune. Now, let's talk about the big sale. In early 2024, a collector came across this rare penny in a bulk coin purchase. He noticed the weight was off, got it authenticated, and the penny was graded as MS67 by PCGS, a near-perfect condition. Once word got out, collectors went wild, and at an auction, one of the top bidders dropped $1.9 million to add it to their collection. That's right, a single penny sold for nearly $2 million. If that doesn't make you want to check your pockets, I don't know what will. Let's say you're lucky enough to find a 1996 D error penny. Use a jeweler's scale to check the weight and compare it to regular pennies. Send it to PCGS or NGC for official grading. Auctions like heritage auctions or private collectors will pay top dollar. All right, folks, we've covered why this 1996 D penny is so valuable, how to identify it, and how one lucky collector turned pocket change into a millionaire's payday. Go through your jar of change, check under your couch cushions, maybe even take a peek at that old piggy bank from childhood. Who knows? You might just find a coin that changes your life. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I post weekly videos on rare coins, collecting strategies, and hidden treasures you don't want to miss. All right, folks, imagine this. You're digging through your couch cushions, maybe looking for some loose change for the vending machine, and BM. You find a penny. No big deal, right? Just 1 cent. But what if I told you that little copper coin could be worth a whopping $2 million? Yeah, you heard me right too. $1 million. Today, we're talking about the 1972 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that looks like every other penny but could turn you into a millionaire if you're lucky enough to find the right one. So, grab your piggy banks, empty your pockets, and let's dive into the world of rare pennies, valuable errors, and why some of these coins are worth serious money. A personal story. My first big coin surprise now. Before we get into the nitty-gritty details, let me tell you about the time I almost threw away a valuable penny. Years ago, I was rolling up some spare change, completely oblivious to the fact that some pennies could be worth more than my car. I'm mindlessly stacking them, and my buddy, who's big into coin collecting, glances over and says, "Hey, that's a 1969 S double die. You might want to hold on to that." I laughed, thinking he was messing with me. But sure enough, after looking it up, I realized I had a coin worth thousands. Let's just say that was the day I stopped seeing pennies as just pennies. Why is the 1972 no-mint Mark penny so special? First things first, if you're wondering why this penny is worth so much, it all comes down to a rare minting error. In 1972, the Philadelphia Mint struck a batch of Lincoln pennies with a double die obverse error. This means the design was stamped twice, slightly misaligned, creating a doubling effect. Collectors love these kinds of errors, and the 1972 double die penny is one of the most famous. But here's the kicker. not every 1972 penny has this error. Most are just regular old pennies, worth, well, 1 cent. But a select few have this doubling, and those are the ones that can sell for insane amounts of money. All right, so how do you know if you're holding on to a rare 1972 penny instead of just another piece of pocket change? The doubling is most noticeable on In God We Trust, Liberty, in the year 1972. If these letters look blurry or doubled, you might have a winner. The Philadelphia Mint didn't use mint marks in 1972, so if your coin has a D or S, sorry to say, but it's not the big money one. Even if you have a double die penny, the better the condition, the more it's worth. Coins in mint condition, with no scratches or wear, fetch the highest prices. Now, let's talk numbers. While not every 1972 double die penny is worth millions, the highest graded specimens can sell for jaw-dropping amounts. Circulated versions, ones that have been used in everyday transactions, can go for $100 to $500. Uncirculated versions, ones that look brand new, start at around $1,000 and can reach up to $10,000. Graded MS67 or higher have sold for $2 million or more at auctions. That's right, a tiny penny worth more than a mansion. Just imagine paying for a house with a single coin. Try explaining that to your bank. Where to sell a rare 1972 penny? If you think you have one of these valuable pennies, don't just go spending it on a pack of gum. Organizations like PCGS or NGC can certify and grade your coin, giving it an official value. eBay, Heritage Auctions, and Stax Bowers regularly sell rare coins for top dollar. If you want a quick sale, some shops will buy rare pennies on the spot. Just make sure you know its value before selling. So, next time you come across a penny, don't just toss it in a jar and forget about it. Take a closer look. You might be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. The 1972 no mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that even the smallest coins can have massive value. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth serious money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Also, let me know in the comments, what's the coolest coin you've ever found? Hey folks, imagine this. You're digging through some old change, looking for a quarter for the parking meter, and boom, you find a 1973 D Lincoln penny. No big deal, right? Until you look it up and realize, wait a second, this thing could be worth $2.1 million. Yeah, you heard me right. Now, before you flip over every couch cushion in a panic, let me walk you through what makes this penny so special, how to know if you have one, and, most importantly, how you might turn that little copper coin into a life-changing payday. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. All right, so let's get down to business. A regular 1973 D Lincoln penny? Worth exactly 1 cent. Maybe 2 cents if you're lucky. But one rare version of this penny sold for a mind-blowing $2.1 million. So what makes this one so special? Well, it all comes down to errors in materials. See, most 1973 pennies were made of copper, but a few were accidentally struck on aluminum planchets, a type of metal blank that was supposed to be used for experimental coins that never went into circulation. The U.S. Mint was playing around with aluminum pennies because they were trying to cut costs, but they scrapped the idea and ordered all aluminum pennies to be destroyed. Problem is, some of them didn't get destroyed. A few slipped out, and now they're some of the rarest and most valuable coins in existence. And one of them? Yeah, it's got that little D mint mark, meaning it was made in Denver. That's the one that sold for $2.1 million. Okay, so how do you know if your 1973 D penny is worth life-changing money? First, check for these signs. It looks different. A real 1973 D aluminum penny will be much lighter than a regular copper penny. Copper pennies weigh about 3.11 grams, while aluminum ones weigh about 0.93 grams. That's less than a third of the weight. If it feels weirdly light in your hand, you might be onto something. It has a Denver mint mark. Flip your penny over and look under the date. If there's a little D, you're in the running. No D? Well, it's still a penny. So hey, freemoney.it doesn't stick to a magnet. Aluminum is not magnetic. So if your penny clings to a magnet like your crazy uncle clings to conspiracy theories, then it's probably just a regular copper penny. It's in great condition. That $2.1 million penny, it wasn't just rare, it was in almost perfect condition. If your penny looks like it went through a garbage disposal, it's probably not worth millions, but it might still be worth something. A personal story. My near $1 million miss now. Let me tell you a little story about how I almost became a millionaire and completely blew it. A few years back, I was at a flea market, digging through a big bowl of pennies some guy was selling for a quarter each. I grabbed a handful, paid my $2, and went on my merry way. I'm sorting through my new treasures, and I find a 1973 D penny that looked way too shiny. It was super light, too. I remember thinking, that's weird. But instead of checking it properly, I spent it the next morning on a coffee. That same week, I found out about the $2.1 million sale, and I almost fainted right there in my kitchen. Now, do I know for sure that I had an aluminum penny? No. But do I lose sleep over it sometimes? Absolutely. Moral of the story? Check your change. Let's say you go through your jar of pennies tonight, and boom, you find one that looks promising. Don't clean it. I know it's tempting to make it all shiny, but cleaning coins destroys their value. Just leave it be, weigh it. Get a small digital scale that measures in grams and check if it's under 1 gram. Get it authenticated. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you if it's legit. Auction it off. If it's the real deal, big auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stax Bowers will be fighting to sell it for you. And with a coin this rare, there will be collectors ready to throw down millions. That little penny you've been ignoring could be worth more than your house. And even if you don't find the $2.1 million jackpot, there are plenty of other valuable pennies out there waiting to be discovered. Check your change. Dig through your old coin jars, your car cup holders, and that drawer full of random junk. And if you find something interesting, drop a comment and let me know. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and want more tips on valuable coins hiding in plain sight, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because trust me, you do not want to miss the next one. All right, folks, I've got a question for you. What if I told you that a simple 2016 Lincoln penny, yes, that little copper-coated coin you probably have in your pocket or couch cushion right now, could be worth a staggering $2.2 million? Sounds crazy, right? But hold on, because this is not just some internet rumor. This is real, and today, we're diving deep into the story behind this incredibly valuable penny, what makes it special, and how you might just be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. But before we get into it, let me tell you about the time I almost tossed away a valuable penny without a second thought. Years ago, I was at a gas station, paying for a cup of coffee, when I dropped a handful of change on the counter. The cashier picked up a penny and said, "You know, some of these are worth a lot of money." I laughed and said, "Yeah, sure, maybe in like 100 years." Fast forward to today, and here I am, telling you about a 2016 penny worth over $2 million. If I had known back then what I know now, I would have checked every single penny in my pocket. Lesson learned. So grab your loose change, get comfortable, and let's dive into the mystery of the 2016 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Now, let's get one thing straight. Not every 2016 Lincoln penny is worth a fortune. If that were the case, we'd all be millionaires, and let's be honest, I wouldn't be here making YouTube videos. I'd be on a private island sipping something fancy. But this specific penny is special because it's a rare error coin. The 2016 Lincoln penny was struck without a mint mark and features an extremely rare double-die obverse error, which, in plain English, means the front of the coin has slight doubling in the details, like Lincoln's eye or lettering. This kind of error is what gets collectors drooling and bidding outrageous amounts of money. To put this in perspective, millions of 2016 pennies were minted, but only a handful of these error coins exist. That's what makes them so valuable. Think of it like winning the lottery, except instead of picking numbers, you're digging through your spare change. Now, here's where it gets interesting. A lucky collector, probably just like you, found one of these 2016 pennies while sorting through their pocket change. At first, it looked normal, but upon closer inspection, they noticed something was off with Lincoln's face. After sending it off to be authenticated, boom, a multi-million-dollar payday. Imagine finding a penny on the ground, picking it up, and later realizing it's worth more than a Lamborghini. That's exactly what happened. All right, so now you're probably wondering, how do I check my pennies? If there's a tiny D Denver or P Philadelphia below the date, it's not the one. You're looking for a blank space. Use a magnifying glass if you have to. Look for any signs of doubling, particularly in the eye and lettering. This specific penny should weigh around 2.5 grams. If it's significantly different, you might have something unusual. If you think you have one, don't just throw it on eBay for $50. Get it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. The last known sale of one of these 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies with the error went for a jaw-dropping $2.2 million. That's more than the price of a mansion in some parts of the country. Of course, not every 2016 penny will be worth that much, but even lesser error versions have sold for thousands of dollars. So, before you dump your change jar into a Coinstar machine, take a second look. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, "I had one of those, but I spent it." My heart breaks a little every time. You might be handing a fortune to your barista. Never, and I mean never, clean a coin. It kills if you find one. Do your research before selling. Some auction houses will help you get the best price. All right, folks, if you've made it this far, congratulations. You now know more about the 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny than most people ever will. But more importantly, you might just have $1 million coin hiding in your home right now. Check your pennies. Go through your pockets, your car, that old piggy bank from when you were a kid. And if you find something interesting, let me know in the comments. I love hearing these stories. And hey, if you want to keep learning about hidden treasures in your pocket change, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I've got plenty more coin hunting secrets coming your way, and trust me, you don't want to miss out. All right, folks, let me ask you a question. How often do you actually check your pocket change? Be honest. You probably just grab your pennies, shove them in a jar, or, if you're like me, let them mysteriously disappear into the depths of your couch cushions. Well, what if I told you that a 2006 Lincoln penny, a simple 1-cent coin, could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.30 million? Yeah, you heard that right. One little penny, worth more than a mansion, a Ferrari, and a lifetime supply of coffee combined. And before you say, "Come on, that's gotta be fake," stick around, because I'm about to break down why this coin is so valuable, what makes it special, and how you might just have one sitting in your coin jar right now. Plus, I've got a hilarious personal story about a time I almost threw away a valuable penny. Yep, I'm still kicking myself over that one. So grab your loose change, because by the end of this video, you'll be checking every single penny like a detective on a mission. All right, so let's start with the basics. The 2006 Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, hence the little D mint mark under the date. Sounds normal, right? Millions of these were made. Nothing unusual, until you realize that one of them, just one, sold for $2.30 million. That's not a typo. That's $2.3 million. 4. A. Penny. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, but why? What's so special about this one? Well, this particular 2006 penny was struck on a bronze planchet instead of the usual copper-plated zinc. Basically, the US Mint accidentally used the wrong metal, which is like ordering a regular cheeseburger and getting one made of solid gold instead. Literally. Because this was never supposed to happen, it's incredibly rare. And when something's rare in the coin collecting world, collectors will pay big money to own it. So how do you know if your 2006 penny is the one? A regular 2006 penny weighs about 2.5 grams, but the bronze era coin is heavier at 3.1 grams. So if you've got a digital scale lying around, start weighing those pennies. A standard 2006 penny has a more reddish hue because of the copper plating. The bronze one has a richer, deeper brownish tone. This penny isn't supposed to be magnetic, so if it sticks to a magnet, sorry, it's just a regular penny. This one's for the pros, but if you drop it on a hard surface, the bronze penny has a distinct ring compared to a dull clink from a normal one. Now, before you run off to check your penny stash, let me tell you a quick story that will make you want to be very careful with your loose change. So, a few years back, I was cleaning out my car, because let's be honest, sometimes it turns into a personal landfill, and I found a penny on the floor. It looked old, like something was off about it. But instead of checking it, I tossed it into a jar of random change. Fast forward a month later, I saw a news story about a rare penny that had been found just like the one I had. I sprinted to my coin jar like I was in an Olympic race, only to realize that I had already spent it at a vending machine for a bag of chips. That's right. I traded a potentially valuable coin for a snack. And the worst part? The chips were stale. All right, let's talk numbers. The most famous 2006 bronze penny sold for $2.3 million. But even if you don't have the $1 million penny, there are still some valuable error pennies from that year. Like off-center strikes or double dies. Can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So even if your penny isn't the big jackpot, it could still be worth way more than 1 cent. Collectors are always on the lookout for these rarities, and the market for error coins is hotter than ever. If you think you've got a valuable one, get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service before making any moves. Alright, folks, let's recap. The 2006 D Lincoln Penny might look like just another coin, but one special mistake made it worth $2.3 million. If you want to know if you have the golden ticket of pennies, remember, check the color, deeper, brownish tone. Try the magnet, shouldn't stick, should have a clear ring. Don't be like me. Don't let a valuable penny slip through your fingers for a stale bag of chips. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins worth money, rare finds, and coin collecting strategies, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more insider tips coming your way, and trust me, you don't want to miss them. And hey, let me know in the comments, what's the coolest coin you've ever found? Who knows, maybe you're sitting on a hidden treasure. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where we talk about coins worth money. And today, I have a question for you. Have you ever found a penny in your pocket and thought, meh, it's just a penny? Well, let me tell you something. That little copper-colored coin could actually be worth more than a brand new Lamborghini. Yeah, you heard that right. Today, we're diving into the insane story of the 2003 no-mint mark Lincoln Penny, a tiny little coin that's causing big waves in the collecting world. One of these pennies recently sold for $2.4 million. And if that doesn't make you want to go digging through your couch cushions, I don't know what will. Now, before you run off to check your spare change, stick with me. I'm going to break down exactly why this penny is so valuable, how you can tell if you have one, and what to do if you hit the jackpot. Plus, I've got a personal story about how I almost threw away a valuable coin. Let's just say, I learned my lesson the hard way. All right, grab your pennies, grab your magnifying glass, and let's get into it. So, what makes this penny worth millions? Well, it all comes down to a rare minting error. Normally, Lincoln pennies from 2003 should have either a D for Denver Mint or a P for Philadelphia Mint. But this one? Completely blank. No mint mark. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so someone just rubbed the mint mark off, right? Nope. This wasn't a case of some bored kid scratching his coin with a rock. This penny left the US Mint without a mint mark, a true mint error that collectors go crazy for. If you were buying a Ferrari and suddenly found out it was the only one in the world with no logo, that odd little detail would make it even more special and way more valuable. Same thing with this penny. Now, here's where it gets even wilder. Not only is this a one-of-a-kind error, but it's also in perfect condition. Coin collectors are obsessed with something called grade, basically, how flawless the coin is. The 2003 no-mint mark Lincoln Penny that sold for $2.4 million was graded MS69, which is basically like finding a 20-year-old car with 0 miles on it. The coin is practically untouched, which drives collectors nuts. There's only one known example of this coin in this condition. It's like winning the lottery, except the winning ticket was sitting in someone's change jar for 2 decades. All right, now for the part you've been waiting for, how to check if you have one of these golden tickets. Grab all your 2003 pennies. Seriously, dig through your piggy banks, junk drawers, and car cup holders. You never know. Look at the front of the coin, right under the date. If there's a little D or P there, sorry, no millions for you. But if there's nothing there, well, my friend, you might just be onto something. Check the condition. If your penny looks like it's been through a war zone, it's probably not worth much. But if it's shiny and practically untouched, you might have a jackpot on your hands. If you think you've got something special, get it graded by a professional. The best way to do this is to send it to a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. If they confirm it's a genuine mint error and it's in top condition, congratulations, you're in for a payday. All right, time for a personal story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my car and found a handful of old pennies under the seat. They were covered in dust and honestly, I was about to just toss them in a Coinstar machine, but something stopped me. Call it coin collector's intuition. I decided to take a closer look, and boom, I had a 1972 double-die penny sitting right there in my hand. Not $1 million coin, but still worth a few $100. How many valuable coins have I thrown away over the years? Probably more than I want to admit. Always check your change before you cash it in, because you never know when you're holding something special. So, there you have it. The story of the 2003 no-mint mark Lincoln Penny, a tiny little coin that turned into a multi-million-dollar mystery. These rare finds don't pop up every day, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't keep an eye out. The best part about coin collecting is that anyone can do it. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, the next big discovery could be hiding right in your pocket. And hey, if you found this video helpful or at least entertaining, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips on coins worth money, collecting strategies, and how to turn pocket change into a fortune. Have you ever found a valuable coin in your change? Or do you have a story about a coin you wish you had kept? Let's hear it. All right, folks, let me ask you a question. Have you ever found a penny on the ground, picked it up, and thought, it's just a penny? Well, what if I told you that penny could be worth $2.5 million? Yeah, you heard me right, $2.5 million for a little OL 1979 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Now, I know what you're thinking, how in the world can a penny be worth that much? Well, stick around, because today we're diving deep into this incredible coin. We'll talk about why it's so rare, how to tell if you've got one, and what it might fetch in today's market. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to be tearing through your couch cushions, raiding your piggy bank, and asking Grandma if you can check her old change jar. But first, let me tell you a quick story about a time I almost threw away a valuable coin. Because I know I'm not the only one who's made this mistake. I'm at a gas station, and I get some change back. As usual, I barely glance at it before shoving it in my pocket. Later that night, I'm cleaning out my pockets, and I see this old, beat-up penny. Something about it looks off. It just feels different. But instead of checking it, I do what any normal person would do. I toss it into a jar with all the other loose change. Fast forward a few months, and I'm going through my coins, looking for anything valuable. I remember that weird penny, so I dig it out. Turns out it was a rare error coin worth over $200. And I almost gave it away for nothing. Always check your coins, because the next one you find might just be one of these legendary 1979 no mint mark pennies. And let me tell you, this bad boy is the kind of coin that makes collectors go absolutely nuts. So what makes this penny so special? Well, in 1979, most pennies were struck with either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But a small number of them were accidentally struck without a mint mark. That means they were likely minted in Philadelphia, but for some reason, they left off the mark entirely. Now, missing mint marks happen from time to time, but what makes this penny insane is the condition. The one that recently made headlines? It was graded in nearly perfect condition, which is ridiculously rare. A well-circulated 1979 no mint mark penny. Probably worth just a few cents. Maybe a couple of bucks if it's in decent shape. But if you have one in pristine, uncirculated condition, buckle up, because one of these babies recently sold for $2.50 million. That's right. Someone out there is now a millionaire because they held on to a penny. Let that sink in. Now, you might be wondering, okay, how do I know if my 1979 penny is the one? Flip that penny over and look just below the date. If there's a little D or S there, sorry, it's not the one. If there's no mint mark at all, you might be onto something. Look at the condition. The real money is in high-grade coins. If your penny looks like it just came fresh from the mint, no scratches, no wear, super, then you might have a serious payday on your hands. If you think you have a rare one, don't just throw it on eBay for a few bucks. Send it to a professional coin grading service. A verified high-grade coin is what brings in the big bucks. Why this penny is so valuable? You're probably wondering, okay, but why would anyone pay $2.5 million for a penny? Well, the rare coin market is all about demand. Collectors want the rarest, best condition coins they can get their hands on. And when something this unique shows up, especially in near-perfect condition, bidding wars break out and prices go through the roof. Think of it like sports memorabilia. A regular baseball? A few bucks. But if it's Babe Ruth's signed baseball, suddenly it's worth millions. Same idea here. This means there could be more of these million-dollar pennies sitting in people's houses, hiding in old jars, or jingling around in pockets right now. So, before you spend that penny, take a second look. Because you never know, it might just be your ticket to early retirement. All right, folks, now that you know about this insane 1979 no mint mark penny, what's the first thing you're going to do? Check your coins, of course. And while you're at it, start paying closer attention to your pocket change. You never know what kind of treasure you might find. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins worth serious money, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I post videos just like this all the time, helping you spot valuable coins and build a killer collection. If you do find a rare coin, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories.